what advice would you give to somebody who just wants to get started but just doesn't know where to begin?
You got to take action. You hear that from me. You got to take that first step. If you don't take the first step, you ain't going to take any more. You're not going to get to step 83 unless you take the first step or the second step or the third step. You know, the first thing you need to do is you got to take action every single day, and you have to realize that this is a process. There is no such thing as overnight success. You got to wake up, you got to make a decision, and you have to go.
Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. You are live with Business Insights with Matt Milia, episode number 8. And I got to tell you, I'm super excited today because we've got Sid Clevenger on, and for all of you guys that don't know, Sid is a masterful marketer, and Sid, we actually both have this in common. We both have the same coach through Frank Kern, and we both coach in a lot of the same circles, but today Sid's going to talk a little bit about his story, to tell you guys a little bit also about things that are happening right now in the industry. So, Sid, without further ado, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
What's going on, man? Golly, it's been too long since we've done this.
Hell yeah.
First of all, thank you so much. You and Kristen, Kristen's just awesome. She just looks beautiful today. How beautiful does Kristen look today? She just looks amazing. Yeah. But there. And it is not a either or world. It is a and world. So but is not in our world. So anyway, so glad, so grateful, so just appreciative, first of all, you know, of letting us have let me be on your show, Matt, and you know, for anybody that follows Matt, you know, I've known Matt for a very long time, and you know, Matt knows his stuff, and you know, for people that are looking to get help in the marketing world and are following Matt, and I'm sure Kristen as well, you know, please make sure to reach out to them. They know their stuff very well, and I'm sure they can help you with your challenges. So yeah, with that, now that I got my butt covered, no, I'm just kidding. You know, yeah. So, you know, for me, y'all, just to kind of, you know, I run a company called the Better Leads Institute. We're educational as well as done for you stuff. We offer, you know, we're all educational based. I also run an advertising agency around that, as Matt alluded to. We study with the same marketing mentor. His name's Frank Kern, AKA the GOAT of marketing, the greatest of all time, in my opinion, and that includes Dan Kennedy. I think Frank surpasses him in certain aspects of Dan, but he also was taught one-on-one from Dan, so that wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I look at Frank being the guy that's taken the torch from Dan since Dan's passing earlier this year. So anyway, from that said, you know, we offer a lot of stuff like that, but our whole goal here is through abundance. I don't know if Matt's, you all might have read in my notes that Matt put out there about a little bit about my story, but our mantra is we all win when we all win. And there's a great quote out there that I truly believe. It's one of my favorite quotes. And it's like, when leaders improve, everybody wins. And, you know, that's so true, because when the leader of the pack or the leader of the tribe or whatever is out there to improve on a daily basis, get 1% better on a daily basis, build one, what we call dendrite in the brain to feel daily on a daily basis, everything around them improves. And, you know, that's something that I believe all of us are leaders. And if you're on this podcast listening, my guess is you're a leader as well, because I know who Matt hangs around. And, you know, what I would want you to do is, you know, really think about that. You know, think about how you're leading. Think about how you're stepping into your best self every day. You know, I'd love to show you here on my wall that is sitting right next to me. My wife and I have I've sent you a picture of this, have I not?
Yeah.
So like, we have an entire wall. It's not a Post-it note in my wallet. It is not a 8x11 piece of paper that's on a wall. It is not 100 Post-its in a little circle. You can see the part of it here. This is our daily and our weekly and our 3 words and our basically our overview. But then over here, we have an entire wall. Here, I'll just move this over so you can see it. It's crazy. We have an entire wall.
Wow. I love it.
It is literally January through December of next year. Sorry, I don't want to lose you here, but it is January through December of next year, and it is every single target, every single goal we're going to hit. And it's not just, hey, Sid's going to get 4 new clients in January. This is exactly how he's going to do it. And then we break it down into these daily and weekly steps, which are repeated, that helps us do that.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I didn't mean to, but I think it's funny because, I saw your Facebook post that was about, I want to get on 52. I think you said like 50 some podcasts. And I'm like, well, hell, I'll help them out. I'm like, I already got a spot readily available. And I'm pumped because your story, man, and look, I don't know what you want to go. I don't know what you want to go into. It's your party. But if you want to tell a little bit about your story, because I saw, in 2016, with a gun in your hand to now you have a beautiful wife, a great life. You are building these amazing brands. You're building a legacy, and I don't say that lightly. So it's very impactful to watch the growth trajectory. Tell everybody a little bit about what were some of the challenges as far as getting into your best version of yourself, and how did you evolve from your story?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I think there's 2 things that have to happen at the beginning of any story. I didn't know one of them until about a year ago. The only thing I knew 3 years ago when all this happened, or however long ago it was to take action, and to take massive action. And I had that kind of, I guess, mindset would be the best word. I understood that enough. Like, my mind was able to comprehend that enough, right, through where I was. I grew up, there's nothing wrong with it, but I grew up in Kentucky. I grew up initially till I was 12 years old in a very small town, about 300, 400 people. One of those towns in middle America where everybody knows each other, and the one place you go to hang out is the Walmart parking lot, one of those places. And when I was 12 years old, we moved to a suburb of Louisville, Kentucky, which, now living in downtown. I live we live in a 12th floor unit here overlooking downtown Dallas, like literally right downtown. And it's what I always wanted, until now I've realized that I want a yard again, and, trees and a dog and a pool and a putting green in my backyard, and a golf course, out in the middle of nowhere where no one can bother me. But we're definitely, like, it's pretty cool where we live now. We're, it's a pretty neat lifestyle. But yeah, 3 years ago, I'm pretty open about it. I don't talk about it much more, just because I don't believe I'm a big believer in words matter. So, like, what you talk about is what you get. And if you're a follower of Frank Kern and you watch that Core Influence video, that's what that entire video is about. And that's probably one of the most famous marketing videos ever made. Yeah. In my opinion, it's about 2 hours long. You can just go into YouTube and search Frank Kern Core Influence, and the entire thing will pop up. It's about, I think it's an hour and 56. I've seen it 18 times.
Wow.
That's important it is to me.
I've seen it at least 3 times. Great video.
I love it. And it's just a great video. It's the beginning of your life change. And he talks about, like, what that is. But anyway, for me, it's all about, like, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I'll get into my story. I know I left an open loop there, and I promise it off next. But it kind of goes into my story of, like, where I'm at now, right? That's where I was. Like, my mind, like, I remember, brother, 3 years ago, I was like, if I can make $5,000 a month. 2 years ago, right before I started blowing up a little bit, I was like, man, if I can just make $5,000 a month, I'll pay off all my bills, which was around $3,000 at the time. And I'd have $2,000 a month to do whatever the hell I wanted. And to me, I wasn't with Tiffany yet. I wasn't doing anything like that. So for me, it was like, holy crap, like, that's life. That's how small-minded I am. Right now, it's, if I don't make, $50,000 a month, I'm freaking out. Something's wrong. Right. So like the thing is it's never between where I was and where I'm at now is not difficulty. It's just different. And you have to be able to accept different. And a lot of people are not able to accept different. They see something in their mind of, this is exactly how it's supposed to be. This is exactly what I'm supposed to look like, feel like, talk like when I'm an entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur. Bullshit. I made my first 5-figure sale, no joke, naked, sitting in this exact same chair on the phone on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And then I bragged about it on Facebook at lunch and got about 90 likes.
Wow.
So no joke. There is, the first time that I realized that, Matt, was on I don't know if you ever watched the show or know the story of a guy by the name of Frederick Eklund. He was on $1 Million Listing New York.
Okay.
He has a book called The Sale that he wrote in 2014. The guy sold, he's stupid, billions in the real estate. He has offices in Miami, LA, New York, Switzerland, and I think Mexico City now, or maybe Sydney. I can't remember. But yeah, he sells to stupid amounts of real estate, and he wrote a great book. And the thing is I first realized, not that I was ever a porn star, because I wasn't, okay, but he used to be. And he was a porn star and in a porn movie, and he's flamboyantly gay. But he talks about in his book how if he doesn't let his light shine, he's never going to be able to help the people that he was put on this earth to help. So it's never a matter of like worrying about what the haters are worrying. Me and Tiffany, people hate me and Tiffany just because Tiffany and I are together. That's my wife. And we're a pretty strong power couple. And we're able to do it. We're able to help a lot of people together, a lot more than we ever would apart. And I'll get into that later on in this podcast. But we get hated on every day. I mean, she's called a transvestite. I'm called so many names, a hillbilly, a hick. I should shave that beard. I mean, I have a niece that we adopted, my niece that my little sister adopted a couple years ago. I've had people reach out to me and tell me that, that she was so unfortunate to get adopted into this family. I mean, like, that's how serious people are. And you got to realize that, like, that happens to all of us. And if you ever follow Tiffany and I, you get into our stuff, which I would love for you all. We have a great group called Success Secrets for Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurs. Matt's in that group. Kristen, I'd love for you to be in that group. And, it's a free group. And we do live training in that group or interviews with 7-figure, our coaches, the people we hang out with, like Matt. And it's called Success Secrets for Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurs. Matt, I'll give you a link so you can use it to drop in this episode. Yeah. And when you use that link, we give you over 40 hours of free training, everything from mindset to our personal regimens to digital marketing. I give you 15 of my best videos from my Break Free Academy program with our students. I give you master classes that we've done in the past year. I mean, you get so many free things. You get all of our books, and you also get a software that I'm coming out with that is literally going to rival Kajabi and ClickFunnels. It comes out in January 1. And our little USP on that is that we also offer geo-targeting with our software, which Kajabi and ClickFunnels do not. We also, our deliverables are through email and text. So you can build a landing page and all that like they got in ClickFunnels. You can connect the API and the drip within the same software, and then deliver the stuff through email and text message. And you can also deliver assessments and surveys, which MailChimp doesn't offer. So we have surveys built into it. And then we also have automation built into it based on behavioral. If they open, if they don't open, they get moved automatically, lists that you make. So we have the behavioral piece in there. We have the drip piece in there, just like ActiveCampaign has. It's very similar to ActiveCampaign or Guru's front end UI mapping. That's developer talk. And then so basically what it's going to look like is going to look very similar to ActiveCampaign and Guru. And then basically we're going to have it to where we can send certain emails to certain people within a geo-targeting environment. So we can draw a map out in the software. And then once we draw that map out in the software, we can then launch an email list out, say 50,000 emails, knowing that say 40,000 of those people are going to be within a specific spot, like a convention or whatever. And then once they open that email, we can pixel them and then start retargeting ads toward them while they're in that thing. It's pretty kick-ass.
Wow.
We're super excited. I've had this idea in my head for about 2 years. But couldn't find the developers to do it. It's so much work. I finally got a group of developers and teamed up with some people in Silicon Valley, which they kind of came to me with something that was already partially built. And then I came to them with my idea. We collaborated and we built something special. So, that comes out January 1st. So if you want to get on a wait list for that, Matt, I'll send you over a specific link today.
Absolutely.
And the wait list for that, just get on the wait list. We're going to be giving you a free account. So you're going to be getting a free account set up with that. And you're also going to be getting your first 2 weeks with the platform for free. After that, it's just, you're going to get that free platform. You can build anything you want in there. And then what we'll have is 2 weeks after that, it's just going to go up. We're going to keep the pricing model around the Kartra price point. That's where we're at. So it's going to be around the $50 to $80 price point that you would then just roll into right after that if you liked it. So we want to give you a chance to use it before you pay anything for it. And this link will specifically be able to do that for you. So I'll give you this link. If you all can just fill out the form, all we need to know is just some basic information to make sure that you're a real person, not a robot, not some crazy person from Russia. No offense to anybody that listens to this from Russia. And we just need to, just make sure you're real. And, that way we can get you set up. We do need to set you up with some things. You'll get a phone call with our team and all that fun stuff. So once we get launched and all that, and then, we'll get you going, get you rolling in January, and you see if it's something that you like. And then, hey, maybe you can use this software and save a few bucks in your marketing. So yeah, absolutely. I'll shoot that over to you. Sorry, that was a big conversation over something I wanted to be like 30 seconds.
That's all right. That's usually how that goes. So, I mean, and again, like I said, when I saw your video, this was actually, I think this was right around
Matt?
the same. You lost me? Uh-oh.
Let's see.
I see you, Kristen. I see you. You're there.
I know. Yeah. No, I am. I was
hear
wondering.
you. Oh,
Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
I don't know what happened. Let's see.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay.
Can
so
you
Kristen,
see and hear Matt or no?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same bug we had before, Kristen. So can you hear me, Kristen?
Can you hear me, Kristen?
I can. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, good. I still see you. Yeah,
All
you
right.
might see a bug on your end. I've seen that happen. I'm guessing this is. Yeah.
I mean, modern
be
technology,
live, man.
you know?
This is
maybe
Here.
Matt can
real stuff. This is not scripted.
This is real, man. This is live. This is what happens when we go live. This is stuff you have to embrace that you have to own it.
You know, just to spin on that, Kristen, everybody gets so worried about going live and screwing up.
I did. That's why that's why I had a business.
Oh my gosh,
that
everybody's laughing at me. Oh my gosh, man. So like, who cares?
Everyone,
it's real.
Yeah. So,
everyone can still hear me. That's good. Okay.
Yep. So Sid, so kind of going back to where you're at, where you came from.
So Matt, can you
tell me a little bit? I just muted her. Tell me a little bit about. Yeah, I know she's going to kill me, but it's okay. Tell me a little bit about what where the journey started here.
Yeah, so for me, really, it was I have a book coming out. I have a book coming out in January. So it goes over all of that. So I can give you kind of a pre-order link for that. There's no ordering. Just let me know you want it, so I can get it sent out to you.
I love it.
And yeah, so it's going to be coming out in late January, early February. I'm trying to get it knocked out because I'm on a TV actually in LA in February that they want me to have the book ready for.
So yeah, I mean, because I know you had said this is when, and I know she threw me off a little bit because she couldn't hear me. So I want to make sure now. What I was trying to get to was that last year I watched your video. It was with you. You were, and you were actually like, you were tearful. You were very like open and real. And I mean, I watched that video like 4 or 5 times. I even told my wife, I'm like, hey, you gotta watch this video. Yeah, I'm like, you gotta watch it. That video changed the way I did everything.
Was it the one that I did that talked about like me getting knocked down to getting knocked down to my knees, and I finally learned something about like how to constantly improve and get better no matter where you're at in your life? That was actually to me by Brad Bearden that day. That's why I was so excited about that. Yeah. I had a private phone call with Brad. I had something happen that got me down. Something kind of that I respected at the time kind of screwed me over in a situation that we were in. And I reached out to Brad and I said, Brad, man, like I'm down. Like, I was working with Brad at the time. So I still have his personal cell phone number. I could call him right now and he'd probably answer. But, for those of you that don't know Brad Bearden up until just recently, because he went out on his own. He wasn't like let go or anything. He went out on his own and he's doing great things on his own right now. But Brad Bearden was Frank Kern's chief marketing officer. He was also the mind behind the paid ad strategy for intent-based branding. I fell in love with intent-based branding so much last year when I took a class with Frank Kern on it, with me and Tiffany, a virtual class that we did with Frank Kern when he would go live. Matt, I don't know if you might have went through that class as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I love this so much and I'm so bought into it. I reached out to Brad personally and I said, Brad, you barely know me, but I'm willing to, work with you at your price point, which at the time was $10,000 a month, right? And I was just all in. I was like, I'm going to learn this. And if I have to pay $10,000 a month to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to sit there and sit on it for months, right? So, Brad ended up giving me a deal because I was a part of Frank. So I think I ended up paying half of that. And I worked with him for 3 months. And he literally, I wasn't able to touch anything in Frank's accounts, but I was able to look at Frank's accounts. I was able to see how things happened. I was able to see what real numbers, real data, real active things going on. And I think that, it was really, really cool because I was able to see like what it's like for someone who spends $1 million a month in advertising on Facebook and Instagram. And that's a completely different world. And, you're talking about multiple ad accounts. You're talking about security all over the place so people can't hack inside what you're doing. I mean, it's a completely different world. I mean, there's so many IT security stuff that comes into that. I've worked with people where we're spending around 25 to 50K a month on ads, but $1 million, holy crap, So like the whole thing of just, I would talk to Brad about like, dude, do you ever just freak out? Like you're spending someone's $1 million here, and he told me, he was like, at the beginning I did, but then I realized that I was making him $1.5 million like clockwork, and they paid me for it. So, I mean, like that was kind of like, but here's what Brad told me, and I'll tell you exactly where that came from. Hopefully this helps your audience because this was a huge help in my life. I had been told this. So just to I want to reemphasize this because there is kind of a backstory. There is not one person, one program, one mastermind, one mentor, one anything that is going to one funnel. Yes, Russell, I'm talking to you. That is going to be the coup de grace and is going to save your life and is going to have everything and fix every single one of your problems. There is not one person, one thing, one funnel. Yes, Russell, I'm talking to you. One webinar. Yes, Sam Ovens, I'm talking to you. That is going to change your life. It's not going to happen. And the thing is, I mean, it's a great get. Yeah, you're one thing away from making all your life be awesome. If you hear somebody say that, run as far as you can away. Please. It doesn't happen. The person who told me that was actually Andy Frisella. And, I'll never forget it because if you know who Andy Frisella is, I mean, he's a straight dude. He is not going to like BS anything. Every word that comes out of his mouth has meaning and intention. And he said that to me eye to eye. And I was scared. I was like, oh, crap. Like, I don't know what to say. And and that's the truth. So I want you all to know that if you're out there looking for that one person or that one thing, it's not out there. You are a human being built up of the different pieces of the people around you that makes you who you are. That's why the whole thing of you are an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's why that's true. Yeah. I've literally watched my language change when I start hanging around different people. Not kidding. And language means everything. So I want you all to know that. The next thing is that this is the reason, like I hired Brad for ad work and he taught me a ton. He's like going to be the next marketer. Like he doesn't even work with one-on-one people like that anymore. He works with like HBO now. He works for some really big companies. So he's not for hire right now. But the thing is he taught, I was able to I spent 10, 15K on this thing, whatever it was. I had my CFO takes care of the money, but it was just kind of like, I spent my money on this thing and I learned, even though I paid him for ads, the biggest thing I took from it was personal development. And I called him. He ended up saying, no, bro, I got to get you on Zoom. We got on a quick Zoom. And he spent an hour with me, like extra. And he sat down with me and he said, I'm going to go over this with you, but then this is what's going to help you do this. So besides making me go downstairs in 115-degree heat next on the pool deck and do 100 burpees for time, which about killed me, I have that video as well. He also told me, he said, dude, every single time that I run into something like this, this is what I do. And it just helps me every single time. And ever since I hear this voice in my head, every time that something happens to me, and this voice in my head is my reset. It's my trigger. He told me, he said, Sid, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to, every single conversation, every single podcast you're on, every single show you're on, every single conversation, sales call, funnel you're building, your only goal is to focus on what you're doing in the present moment and to be the best that you can be in that present moment. It's the only, like, so for instance, right now, I have another live training I got to do later on today. I got another podcast that I'm on. I'm on a live TV show tomorrow. Or not a live TV show, but like a live YouTube, Facebook show thing. And then, we're getting ready to launch some ads for this whole new 6th group that we got, and we're rebranding and changing all that stuff. But you know what, Matt, right now, Matt and Kristen and this audience and this thing, what I'm doing this hour or however long we're on here for, is the most important thing in my life. And I'm doing everything that I can to give you guys every piece of me that I can. So you all maybe, just maybe, can take something and it can impact or influence you in some sort of way. That's the only thing I'm focused on. Now, when I get done with this shuts off. Matt, I'm going to send you those links that I promised. This shuts off. This gets checked. And then I literally, the next thing I'm going to do is I have a call. I have a phone call at 12:30 here in an hour with a client or with a business partner actually in the emails and surveys with me. So when I talk to him, I'm not thinking about Matt. I'm not thinking about Matt and his podcast. I'm not thinking about the IBB campaign I got to set up at 4 today. I'm thinking about that phone call with, my guy here in an hour, or with this interview. Now, when I do this on the first day, like, that's all you focus on. You don't think about the prize. You don't think about the result. You only focus on the mission. Focus on the mission, never the prize. Because if you win the mission, the prize comes. Promise. So what you need to do is, the mission for you that day is just to be focused. Just to be as focused as you can in every single task that you are doing. I don't know if any of your I don't know, Matt, if you talk about planners or planning out your day in your group, but I use a planner. There's many of them out there that are really good. The one that it works really well for me, I wouldn't say it's better than anyone. This is a personal thing. It works really well for me, is Brendan Burchard's HPX planner. I am a big follower of Brendan. Brendan's just everything positivity to me. And I look at Brendan and his wife and see where me and Tiffany want to be in the future, because him and his wife are, work with the mind, and he also is a huge influencer and marketer as well. So we kind of see us wanting to step into his shoes, and he doesn't know that yet, but that's kind of the beginning of us manifesting that now, which we can talk about that as well. Some people think that's hokey, but it's so insanely true.
No, I don't think that's hokey at all. I think a lot of it, I remember listening to a guy, and I don't know if you recall, it was a few years back, it was a series, and I really wish the guy that I know who sent this over to me, it was like, where if you envision it, you think about it, you dream it, you talk it into the universe, it becomes it becomes your world. And language patterns are so impactful, because I even tell my guys, hey, if you're using the word problem, a problem is something that can't be solved, or a problem is something that is I look at that as a challenge, as an obstacle. I look at that in the word stress. I look at that as excitement. Like, there's so many different ways to reframe and rephrase these things that we talk about every day, that we give power to, because we're not putting the right energy into it.
Well, I think, and that's power, right? I mean, power. That's that's that when you can control your mind, and you can control how and you not and I don't mean react and control your mind. I don't mean reactively control your mind. I don't mean reactively control your emotions. I mean, when you can control what enters in to your mind, and you can then control what emotion comes from that information or data entering in your mind, and you can control that emotion, you're one piece immortal. I mean, like, that is so insanely powerful, because then you control your environment. And when you can turn your environment into any environment that you need or want it to be, you turn into the most powerful person in the room. When you turn into the most powerful person in the room, you turn into the most charismatic person in the room. What happens when you're the most charismatic person in the room? You are attracting, when you walk into that room, you are a magnet. Everybody sees you. They feel your energy. I had a call with a customer of mine last night who, a month ago, I flat out told her, she got on my nerves. I was about ready to fire her as a client. She reached out to me every day, and she was literally just, her energy was just pulling me down. And I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, shut up. Like, stop it. And then finally we had a chance to meet in Carlsbad last week. And, I called her last night, and I told her, I said, listen, you have such a natural gift of charisma, and you don't have any idea how powerful that is, or that you even have it. I said, you walked in and I first met you, and it wasn't even direct eye to eye. It was peripheral, and I felt magneted towards you, and you were 30 feet away from me. There's not many people that have that energy. And a lot of people have that power, and they don't harness it. They don't realize it. They just don't give themselves the credit they don't realize that that is something that they have. And they do it on a daily basis, and they don't realize how they can harness that and leverage that to better their life on a daily basis. Tony Robbins talked about the most powerful resources are the resources that are not resources, the resourcefulness It's the resourceful resources like passion and love and just downright grit. You know, I mean, he says, and excuse my language, I don't know if we can cuss on this show.
Oh, so you can cuss. Go ahead. I encourage it.
I'm going to repeat Tony Robbins when he says this. There's a great video out there that's 1 minute and 4 seconds long. That when I was down and out, 3 years ago, when I was suicidal, I listened to this video every day. And it was, if you just look up Tony Robbins resourcefulness, it's a 64-second video, 1:04 that you can pull up. And he literally says at the end of it, when humans are willing to burn their boats, usually good things happen. He says, you know, if you want to take the fucking island, you better be willing to burn your fucking boats, because you take the fucking island, people who either die or succeed tend to succeed.
Yep.
And it's so freaking true. And like, you know, like you have to, like, people tell me all the time, they're like, well, Sid, I read this book. I did the training you told me to do. I watched the video you told me to do. Nothing's changing. Well, first of all, have you burned your boats? Have you quit the job? Have you made it to where at the end of the month? Now, I moved. You know, my story is I moved to a state that I never even freaking flew over, let alone been to. I got somebody to pick me an apartment that was technically in the middle of the ghetto. I live in a place where I'm in a room right now that's the size of my office, which is maybe like 300 square feet. That was my entire apartment. I had a bed in there, a futon, a TV on the floor that was never on because I didn't have cable. I had my phone, and I had a computer and a little desk that I bought at IKEA. That was all I had. And my mattress was on the floor. And I lived there. That's where I lived for a year. And I remember when I first got there, I didn't have a mattress yet because that was in my place. So I slept on a hardwood floor with pillows underneath me for 4 days. You know, and that's, you know, that's extremely important to know. All of us go through that struggle. The things that Les Brown went through, Tony Robbins went through. I think a lot of people, they look at, you know, not a lot of people knew this. I didn't know this when it was told to me. You know how many people Tony Robbins had at his first event, Matt?
I don't. 5? Wow.
You know how many people Frank Kern had at his first event?
I don't know. Wow. That's crazy.
So I think people don't realize that, like, all of us go through these same challenges as we're growing. We only see influencers. We only see successful people when they're successful. We don't see the years behind it. You know, a lot of people come to me now and they're like, oh, Sid just showed up on the radar. He must be one of these overnight successes. They don't see that Sid had a gun in his hand in 2016 and had to literally climb this battle. They don't see that Sid was taught the wrong way how to build something and then realized it was on a glass house, had everything taken from him again, and had to learn how to rebuild it the right way. Right? So, like, I've had my peaks and valleys. I've learned my lessons. I'm human. At the same time, right now, Tiffany and I got something amazing going on, and we are helping people every day. And what we got going on, we are getting leads every day. We are getting yeses every day. We are getting transactions run every day. We are just tying all this huge ecosystem together, and it's just so cool to see. And the cool thing is it's repeatable. Frank Kern talks a lot about this, Matt. You probably read this in his newsletter. You got to build it, and then you got to optimize it, and then you got to expand on it. 99% of businesses operate that way. You got to build it. You got to prove it technically within there. So you got to actually, Matt, if you could put www.betterleadsinstitute.com. We still have, but we're giving away the Better Leads box. In our group, we have a great offer right now. You can go into the Success Secrets for Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurs group. There's a couple questions there just to make sure. Matt, I'll give you a link. Here, I can send you a link right now, Matt, in Facebook, if that's all right. And you can throw it on here.
Yeah, did I spell that right or no? www.betterleads.
You got it. That's my website. But I'm going to shoot a direct link to the group so your audience can have it, so they can hop on here while we're on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me close that loop with my lesson with Brad. If you don't mind.
No, please go ahead.
So with Brad, remember, like I said, he told me that I needed to focus on just, and what that comes back to is something that I teach and I've taught for a long time, which is ironic because even though I teach the same stuff, it didn't come full circle for me. I needed Brad to give me that extra push. As long as you get 1% better every day, and the way Brad put it was you take one step forward every day. So you got to break this down into what do I need to do to take one step forward every day, to get 1% better every day. A good friend, a friend of mine that I've known and got his book and everything. His name's Tim Agali. He was an old Super Bowl champion back for the Patriots back in 2003. Great story. Lost everything in the crash and came back to be a life coach. He's a great life coach now. Speaks on a lot of stages. But I read a book and he called them the NRAs, which is necessary required actions. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. But you know, you gotta focus on every single thing that you're doing. Like right now, like my focus is on this and talking, but also making sure I get you over this link, right? So I mean, like, oh, well, obviously it's not going to be that link. But that's basically, you know, what my goal is. The only reason I'm looking down right now is because I'm getting you this link.
No,
but
it's okay.
I want to make sure I get it over to your people while we're on here. But yeah, you know, so he told me, he's like, as long as you do that, he's like, he can't explain it, but you just focus on that with no expectations. And he said, in 5 days, I want you to tell me if a new opportunity presented itself that is not here now. Wow. The next day it happened. And I got an opportunity. I got a new client. The thing is it did a couple things for me. It slowed me down. That was one thing it did for me. Slowed me down. And then I'm just going to send you the full link. It's going to be a big link, Matt. It's not going to be the Bitly link, but actually, I'll just go to Bitly. Easier. So like, and the thing is the next day I had I'm sending it to you in Facebook, Matt. I had you know, a new client opportunity. Like literally, like, I just sent it to you, Matt. Like literally, you know, I had a new client opportunity, and he was just like reached out to me, and it was really, really awesome. And he's like, dude, yesterday I saw you do X. Not kidding. And I was like, holy crap. Like, holy crap. And, you know, and ever since then, it's just, I mean, you can look, I have my daily stuff here, actually. So, you know, write 250 words a day, 2 sales calls a day. I got to submit 1 HARO response. So that's help a reporter out for my publications. Read or listen to 2 to 3 chapters of a book. I like to listen to Audible. So I'll usually listen to it in my downtime while I'm working. 1 live video on a business page. So I have my page, which is the Sidney Clevenger fan page. I go live on that every day. I do 1 live video. I do 1 live video in another group. So when what we teach, we focus on 2 groups outside of your own ecosystem to infiltrate. And there's a specific teaching and how I did that. By doing that within 2 groups last year, I generated for me, and for our companies about $640,000 using the exact strategies that we teach in our academy, as well as the beginning parts of that strategy within one of my free books that you get just for joining the Success Secrets group that that I just sent you over a link for. So you get those books and the foundational part of that strategy. And then we actually have a $10 offer right now to get into the Better Leads Academy and get the full strategy of all those deep dive strategies for $10. So you get a 30-day trial for $10. You get everything that me and Tiffany have ever done, every course, every training, all that for $10. And then basically we do live trainings every week. We interview 7-figure, like we're interviewing Matt Ganzak this week, and Matt's going to be going over my credits in the group.
Yeah.
And Brent Filter, and we're basically going to be going over how to operate those things. So like it's extremely deep dive type stuff. We're going to have Marshall Silver in that group, one of our coaches. You know, we're going to have Zach Babcock and one of our podcast coach. Cody Rain helps us with YouTube. So those are the types of people that come in and they teach. And then we also add our flavor, our stuff. It's never the Sid and Tiffany show. It's all about how all of us can come together and help the community win. So, you know, I'd love to you all to just join the group and then, you know, get into that $10 offer. I mean, it literally, we make $0 on it. It's paying for us and our systems to run it. And 2, you know, there's an offer in there to hop on a call with me. I do 2 a day. The reason I do this is because it fits my highest intention of helping people win every day, which is, as you know, my highest intentions at the top of everything. And, you know, and I give away 2 15-minute calls. It is literally ask me anything about your business. You want me to teach you how to build a funnel in 15 minutes? I'll teach you how to build a funnel in 15 minutes. So, you know, hop on that call. I'll offer it for free because that fits my highest intention. So get into that group and definitely hop on a call with me. I love them. These calls are amazing. I had 2 of them this morning with 2 great people. So, and I was able to actually help them, not tell them or give them feel good shit. I was actually able to physically help them, give them framework, give them an idea they can go with. Another thing I do is I follow up with 10 leads and make 3 offers to people. Because as you know, with Frank Kern, the amount of money you make is in direct correlation to the amount of offers you present in your marketplace within a given amount of time, whether it's a soft offer or a hard offer. Every single communication that you all have, there needs to be an offer. Matt, I don't need to offer Matt, but I did offer Kristen to get into our group. She might say no, but you know what? She might say yes. And what happens when she says yes? I send her to, I'm not going to lie to you, Kristen, you're probably going to be getting retargeted from me. She's going to be sent into our ecosystem, right? So, you know, that's kind of how that happens. I stretch in the morning. This is something Brenda Burchard taught me. When you stretch in the morning, stress comes from tension. Tension comes from muscles being hard and tense in the body. If you don't need to work out. If you simply stretch, I stretch in the morning for 10 minutes. I take a neurotropic and I take a CBD capsule. That helps loosen my body. I also put on CBD topical on my back. Because I got a really tight back anyway. By stretching in the morning, it allows me to get into the space that I need to get into in the first hour of my day without looking at my phone, without looking at a computer, without talking or thinking anything about my company. I spend time with my wife, Tiffany, and I also spend time preparing my day and making sure that my body and my mind are in the right parts of that day. Part of that hour as well that I do that I think everybody should do is I walk for a half an hour. And it's called my walk with God. I pray, I meditate, I think about the wins. I literally visualize my entire calendar on that walk that day. And I visualize myself getting the yeses, helping the people, walking myself through getting as many wins as I can get that day. And it is so insanely powerful for me. So that might be something that can help y'all as well. I also take neurotropic, like I mentioned. I take a neurotropic called Spectre that Matt Ganzak owns. He's also a digital marketer. So I like to support my people, and it really helps me a lot. I drink a gallon of water a day. There's a lot of science behind that. The walking is 30 minutes in the morning, and then I'll send basically I spend, me and Tiffany are very intentional about this. We spend 1 hour a day with each other because, as you know, we're both busy. So at night we actually have scheduled time. It's from 9 to 10 every night that we both have designated to the 1 hour of us time. That's either us watching a couple episodes of The Office, but there is no work, no training, no nothing. That is sometimes up us laying up here in bed, cuddling each other for now. It really is. It's just
we just started watching The Office. Sorry, we watched it before, but literally it was funny because Stephanie and I yesterday we just started watching The Office again. So that's hilarious.
Yeah, man. So I know it's my 3 words. These are very important, and if you guys know, I'll show you a little thing that I do that helps me a lot. I know this isn't marketing, this is personal development, but it all ties together for me. I just want to give you guys as much as I can. I have this this app called Alarm, but you can use any type of reminder app you want. Okay. And I have in there every 2 hours during my day, basically my affirmation to myself. You guys can read it, and I'll read it out loud. So starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and every 2 hours up till 10 o'clock at night, I tell myself, I get this out and I get notified. When I get notified, I've committed to myself that I will stop whatever I'm doing. And this is all in my calendar as well throughout the day. It's a 10-minute break. So I get up, I pull my phone out, I look at it when this comes through, and I read this out. I am worthy, I am authentic, I am generous, and I am intentional. I bring the joy in everything I do and everybody I meet today. I am worthy, I am authentic, I am generous, and I am intentional. I bring the joy in everything and everyone I meet today. I say that to myself 3 times out loud, usually in front of a mirror. And I look at myself when I say it. And I know that sounds insane. And yes, if someone else sees you, they might point and laugh at me. I don't care. This right here is insanely powerful for me because it reminds myself and it tells myself what I am and the type of person that I am every day outside of the BS that everybody else calls me, right? Yeah. It reminds me, it resets my brain, and it literally is resetting, if anything. It's a trigger to come back to where I am now because I'm a big believer in living in Satori, which means living in the present moment.
And that's huge.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can. That's the first thing Marshall Silver, one of our coaches, teaches us, who's made about 480 million in his lifetime. That's one thing that he's taught us is the first thing that you must do in life is that you have to live in Satori. You have to live in the present moment. You cannot. Tomorrow may never come, and there's nothing you can do to control the past. The past is the past, and it happened. Rehearse, review, revise everything in your life. Rehearse, review, revise everything in your life. Everything that you're doing, this podcast that I'm doing is a rehearsal for the next podcast that I do.
Oh yeah. And it's funny because every podcast that we do, I feel like we're always getting better. We're always adding a different level of value. And the most impactful thing for me that you're talking about too, I mean, and it's funny because my whole goal was to go through marketing, and we've gone through a lot of different things, which is great. It's fine because this is where I've never been. It's so funny because people will message me before the podcast, like, well, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, well, I want to go where the flow goes. Wherever you're passionate at the moment, that to me is the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, in any conversation, I have a great little article that was published in Addicted to Success that is called and I can send you a link to that and you can share it with your people.
Okay.
When you get into the Facebook group, though, you get a free copy of it.
I love it.
Go to the Facebook group. If you're not knowing what I'm telling you to do, go to the Facebook group. I'll send it over to you, the link. And it was published in Addicted to Success. And it was actually well, I had articles written about me before. This was the first time I actually I'm actually a contributor to Addicted to Success. I contribute with them once a week. And great place to go read some great articles about personal development marketing, by the way, and business.
I love it. So for someone brand new, if you're brand new into this whole ecosystem, like you want to be an entrepreneur, because that's really what the core focus of our podcast is about. You know, number one, of course, helping realtors, because that's what we do, and of course, loan officers, but also people that are young, aspiring entrepreneurs, or even old aspiring entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter if you're just getting into it. I think it's just getting started. What advice would you give to someone who is looking to maybe either get in and either be a marketer or whatever they want to be? What advice would you give to somebody who just, you know, wants to get started but just doesn't know where to begin?
I think there's two things. There's two things that I think anybody has to do. One, you got to take action, and you hear that from everybody. You got to take that first step. If you don't take the first step, you ain't going to take any more. You're not going to get to step 83 unless you take the first step, or the second step, or the third step. I think, you know, being a creative, my mind often goes to what needs to be done in step 85.
Right.
3, you know, that's how creatives think. I mean, as a marketer, that we reverse engineer everything. That's how we think. That's how we operate. So, you know, that's how just a creative mind thinks. That's part of our superpower, right? I mean, we're able to really dissect things. We're able to dissect data. Matt, you're extremely good at that. I know you are. You know, and that's just how marketers operate. That's how we're taught. That's how we're trained. That's what we do every day. And so I would say, sorry, that was completely off topic. But I would say, you know, the first thing you need to do is you got to take action every single day, and you have to realize that this is a process. This is not, there is no such thing as overnight success. You got to wake up, you got to make a decision, and you have to go. I'm not saying you have to move halfway across the United States like I did, but I knew that's what I needed to do to make sure that I was there was no plan B. I had to do it. I had to be out here by myself, redoing myself. I had to do everything.
It's huge.
Right. So again, I'm not saying, but if you're in that crappy relationship, you need to get out of that relationship. If you're in, you know, me and Tiffany work so well together because we align with our highest intentions. Hers is to empower, which I want to get Tiffany on your show, Matt. She would.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that was gonna actually. It's funny. We were both thinking the same thing. So there you go.
Intention is to empower 1 million people to live their intentional life. Mine, you know, because of my suicide story, mine is to empower 1,000 people with a gun in their hand to choose life and to help others do the same, and to be successful and help others do the same. So like ours are connected, and me and Tiffany edify each other every single day, and we help promote each other. Right. So like we've been, not to counseling, but we've been to a relationship coach to help us with that. Because we, as entrepreneurs, we're very type A. You know, we want our stuff, and we want it now, and we don't want to wait on it. So, you know, that's just kind of how, you know, there's always that resistance with us. When it's not always, but we used to have that resistance with us where, no, you're doing more for your company than you're doing for my company. We're focusing more on this than we are on that. And we started acting like business partners instead of husband and wife. And we had to kind of take a step back and realize this is how we need to communicate. And we need to start having more trust in our relationship and understanding that both of us are busy, but if we promise that something's going to happen by a certain point, we need to, you know, be who we need to be in that moment and get that thing done. And that works really well for us. I mean, it all goes back in, you know, with relationships. You need to have agreements within relationships that people agree to. And as long as you have those agreements, like one of those agreements for me and Tiffany is she's never allowed to say that she's going to leave. She's never allowed to get so mad where she'll just say, well, I'll just leave. Because I had an ex-wife that used to do that, and I have a lot of trauma that comes back to that.
I get it.
So stuff like that, you know, like I'm not allowed, like little things. It's going to be really funny. This will humanize me. If I pee on the seat, I have to wipe it up. If I don't wipe it up, she embarrasses the crap out of me with 2 members here. That's happening. So, I mean, like, you know, like humanizes me. Okay. Yeah, I do. As a guy, I pee on the seat. Okay. But, you know, that's kind of, you know, and as you all see, like I'm being very flamboyant, and I've made both of these two smile. Let me tell you a secret. Funny means money. Period.
It's true.
And what that breaks down to is when you're able to get someone into an emotional state of happy, into an emotional state of, yes, remember, emotions are what happens immediately. Feelings come after that and become happy. People do not always remember what you did for them, but they will always remember how you made them period. And if you can get what's called a yes state in the brain, to where it gets to the point to every single time they think of Matt, they think of Kristen, they think of Sid, they think of anybody that's ever watching them this thing, and they think of you, they don't tie back to, oh, Sid and Tiffany, you know, this is for real estate. Sid and Tiffany were my realtor and they got me this, you know, the house I'm living in. No, they don't think about that. This is what they think. And this is how little of a pivot this is. But when understood, you can leverage it a billion different ways. Understand that they are going to tie back the emotion that was created once they find out that you were the person that helped them get what they wanted to get, or what they came to you or could have went to anybody to gain. People are at point A, our job's to get them to the target or whatever they want to gain. Jordan Belfort, which I'm not going to say he's an amazing man, but Jordan Belfort's little straight line system he talks about is ideal to getting there, because it is no BS, no bullshit. After the lead comes in, that straight line sales system starts, which again is not Jordan's, it's somebody else's. He rebranded it. And then it's a matter of steps to get them to that conversion. It doesn't mean everyone's going to get there all the time, but that's just part of the machine. If you look at, this was something else, but I had this up there yesterday, and it was like literally like specifics. And then I was going over the training of like how you touch people within a 12, you know, we do a 12 thing process within the sales process, and we touch them. It says 12 times, but it's actually like about 80, because you touch them in 4 different ways. And then like after 80 times of not touching them, there's no point in just continually sending them ads, because you know they've had the opportunity to buy. So instead of sending conversion, we might then send engagement, because engagement's a lot cheaper, but it keeps our face in front of them. And we're also going to be a lot more heavy on, say, the free engagement stuff, the email, the text, and the Facebook message.
That's powerful. I was actually just, it's funny because I'm always wondering, you know, I'm like, I want to run for conversion, but then, after you've started running people on, and guys, by the way, for everyone that's watching, conversion, that's Facebook ads. That's that is literally,
they're specifically looking for buyers, and they're the most expensive ads you can run. You know, so the main 2 types of ads that we run in IBB is going to be engagement, and is going to be conversion. However, every single conversion ad that's ran, which typically is around 80 to 120 ads at one point in time, is going to be retargeting ads based on KPIs that are designated. That's about as much as I can tell you. But then you're going to have to start paying. But I mean, that's for real. Like, I will give you a big secret. So, I mean, like, conversion is all based on, why is it based on retargeting? And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time I read it, it's about 60% cheaper. It's a little wonky right now because of the holidays, because we have the Best Buys and the Walmart throwing billions of dollars into Facebook right now, or maybe not billions, but millions into Facebook right now. So, you know, it's like all of our ads right now are what we call low burns, and we're running a ton of engagement right now, and we're trying to come in on the back end personally, and we're making a lot of sales that way. We're actually not converting a lot on the front end right now. We're converting on the back end ecosystem, but that's on purpose. Because right now in the holidays, I'm not going to play the game of trying to dig deeper into my pockets to play with the Best Buys and the Walmarts of the world. I'll let them win these 6 weeks, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop selling. It's just a different way of doing things. Always remember, things in life are never difficult. They're only different. Surrender to it being different and accept them being different, and life becomes a lot more opportunity, and life becomes a lot easier and positive, period. So, you know, that's
hell, that's one of the most impactful things you may have said this entire call, brother.
Man, you know, I'm full of quotes. I've been freaking doing personal development with everybody known to man, and you know me and Tiffany, we sign up with everybody. I mean, like us, we're in Dean Graciosi's program, Tony Robbins' program. We're in Billy Jean's program. We're in Frank's program. We're in, we're in Brendan Burchard's program. You know, I mean, you've seen all these, you know, we're in Russell Brunson's program, of course. We're in, we're in other programs, like we're in Zachary Babcock's program. We're in, I'm in a program right now. I got a PR guy that is getting me in. He just got me into Forbes. I'm going to be mentioned in Forbes next month.
Awesome.
You know, so like, you know, we got all these people around us. And I think that's another thing. People think these influencers are like you, Matt, or like me or whatever. They see us, but they never see the team or the people behind us. I mean, I have specific jobs at my company, and it is not do everything. You know, I don't touch the buttons anymore, but I do the strategy. You know, no one ever realizes that. They think that I just sit down on here on my computer or my little desk here at the whiteboard and sit here and do all this stuff. Absolutely. I would need like 10 times more hours in a day to be able to knock that stuff out. But the thing is, that's all learning how to scale. And, you know, and to be said with that, I got, you know, Trey, who is my right hand. I think he'd be great for this because Trey does all the back end work for me. So I know Trey has mentioned wanting to get you guys on he has a group of about 1,000 people called Virtually Limitless Entrepreneur, and he was wanting to talk about getting you guys on there because he does have a lot of real estate in there. So all that kind of stuff, which as you all are watching now, this is all on purpose. Every word that I put in front of somebody is intentional, and everything's on purpose. This is what we call collaboration. I mean, I'm just going to shoot it straight. I'm not going to sit here and beat around the bush about it. I'm on this podcast because it's going to help my reach. Matt put me on his podcast because I'm going to, like I did, put a social media post about it and also send it to my list of, of a few thousand or however many. We got like 12,000 people on our list. And some people from my list are then going to come to this show and get into Matt's ecosystem. We're collaborating. There's no, hey, Matt, I'm going to go get Sid's clients, or I'm going to go get Matt's clients, and I never want to talk to Matt again. And Matt's going to be like, I'm going to get all Sid's clients, and I never want to talk to him again. And we're all telling each other we're both frauds and scam artists and don't know what we're doing. There's none of that. We don't need that. Yes, 85% of the people in our marketing net, on our digital marketing world might be doing that. And I sit back, I grab me a bourbon, or you that don't drink, I grab me a bourbon, I sit in front of that crackling fire, and I laugh at those people. I love it. It's not even that they're on the same planet. Like they're not even on the same. They're not playing the same game. Like,
and it's tough. It's tough though. It really is, because when I say it's tough, it is when you're doing things the right way, when you're infusing goodwill into the marketplace. I can't tell you how many times, like, we run a virtual inside sales company. We call for real estate agents and loan officers. And I know you know that, but my point being is that in sharing that, there's so many people that are like, oh man, every inside sales company sucks. They're terrible. And I'm like, well, okay, but I mean, that's not really truly the case. You've just experienced that. And then they've experienced people that don't do things ethically, above board. And that's, for us, that's the number one thing, because people don't buy what you're selling. They don't buy the features and benefits. They buy you. They buy in on your vision, and everybody wants to be a part of that big ecosystem of something larger than themselves.
Community. I think community is really, especially the community, takes a lot of work. Me and Tiffany go live every day, but one day a week in 2 groups. Two groups. That's our main source of traction. I mean, we get engagement in these groups. I mean, if you've noticed, again, I'm not hiding anything. I'm driving people to my Facebook group. That's the beginning of my ecosystem. Oh yeah. Dean Graciosi does it the same way. Tony Robbins does it the same way. Frank Kern does it. All of them do it the same way. Traffic and Funnels were the people, Traffic and Funnels is the name. Their actual names are Taylor, who is out of Nashville, and Chris, who's out of Charlotte. I've never had a chance to meet them, but I have had a chance to study them, read about them, and be in some of their programs. And they're very good. And if you notice, I brag about the people that I work with. I talk good about, regardless if you've had a stife or you've had. Again, people like to do business with happy people, but to close on the group that you said, people do business with people, not profiles.
Yep.
And, there's a huge debate right now on Facebook about, should you do a business profile? Should you do a personality profile? There's advantages and disadvantages to both. How about this? How about you use your own freaking personal profile?
Right.
And you might the shit out of that.
Yeah.
That's the most reach. And then everything else around that points to that. Like Brendan Burchard does a great job. He centers everybody to his Instagram, which makes sense. That's probably going to change though, because Instagram's changing how they operate things. There's no, you can see your follower count, but you can't see your engagement. Or they're changing it into that. It's already made changes overseas. So that's going to make a lot of people not leave Instagram, but not make Instagram their point of emphasis. So Brendan does a great job right now, where his Twitter, his Facebook, his LinkedIn, all of that are links that direct to the Instagram page. So his Instagram page is the audience that then he takes, and the data he takes to then retarget. So he just drives all that traffic to one point, and then takes that one point, pixels that one point, and then uses that to retarget out specific campaigning toward, specific types of people in that marketplace. So I mean, and it just, you can tell the rabbit hole never really ends. But one thing I really want to make sure that we emphasize, besides driving people to my group, just joking. But one thing I really want to emphasize, Matt, is we all win when we all win, and at the end of everything, that's we could sit here and talk about the 613 people I've worked with in 2 years. We could sit here and talk about the amount of money I've helped make those people. We could sit here and talk about the friend request hack that's been downloaded over 5,000 times. and I'm sure has made probably over 1 million leads. It probably, you know, generated over 1 million leads at this point. I don't have that number. But, you know, I could talk about all of the great things that we've done. And it all comes back to one thing, and that's we all win when we all win. You know, we need to put ourselves in the mindset of abundance, not scarcity. And we need to go out there with the intention of, you know, Matt, I'm doing everything that I can right now to make this a good show for you. If it's a good show for you, you win because people are going to consume it, which is going to get people more into your ecosystem. I win because people get to find out who I am and probably get to, guess what, go to my group and get in, you know,
right.
And, you know, Success Secrets for Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurs. He put a link.
Yes, it is in there.
But anyway, you know, I'm able to then gain those people who liked me. It just is, and Kristen as well, it's able to put us on that platform of being able to help people. It gives us that opportunity. I say this a lot to a lot of my customers that come in on our lower level programs. Tiffany and I are huge on giving the opportunity to have the opportunity, meaning we love giving the opportunity for you to have that choice. You have to make the choice, but we like we like being the ones that give you the opportunity. Here's everything. There's nothing stopping you. It's $10. You have $10. If you don't have it, borrow it.
Right.
And then when you get in, you have 30 days to change your life. And I will be there with you. I mean, we do a Q&A we do 2 Q&As, one with me and one with Tiffany every month. And it's literally a full half an hour of people firing questions at us. And we
I love it.
Out as much as we can. So, I mean, like, you know, my point of that all is Tiffany and I will give first before, usually 3 times, which falls in line with NLP training, but usually 3 times before we will ever ask. And we ask usually monetary stuff initially.
Yep.
When we ask, it's, hey, I saw you had a podcast. Is there anything that I can provide to your group of people that would be a benefit to them? That's how I frame it. It's never, hey, can I hop on your podcast? Well, what the fuck? Why should you be on my podcast?
Right.
I didn't ask to be on Matt's podcast. Matt and I just communicated. I told him about the group. He fell in love with it. And he said, bro, like, I got to have you on the podcast. And I said,
yep,
let's do it. So, I mean, like, how that happened.
Huge.
So, you know, it wasn't. And for those of you that are looking to get on podcasts, I'll go ahead and throw this out to you. There's a great website out there. Matt, and the reason I'm telling this on the show is because, Matt, you need to put your podcast on there. You'll find some great people. It just came out. For those of you that know what Haro is, Help a Reporter Out. This is basically Haro for podcasters and live YouTube and Facebook shows and blogs. It's called www.spotaguest.com. It's 100% free. In the Better Leads Academy that we have, which is our entry level, we charge $47 a month for that program. That's the entry level. That's after the $10. So if you get into the $10 program that we're offering, you will get this training with it. But then obviously, as you stay on, we give you more and more deeper dives into this stuff. But one of the things we put together to get on these is what's called a pitch pack. That's very popular when it comes to PR. And a pitch pack is basically what you can offer, the types of assets that you have, as well as what you can provide the show and the types of stories they can spin on. So we have kind of like a worksheet, and we have ways of breaking this down and identifying what's what. Because a lot of times people just don't realize what an asset is. And it's because they're thinking that it has to be some huge thing. It doesn't have to be some huge thing. It doesn't have to be some huge thing. It has to be just something of value that you're able to give that someone else just can't figure out. That's all that is.
I love it. I love it.
So go to spotaguest.com. You can check that out. There's usually like 20 or 25 podcasts on there every Wednesday that gets sent out. Me and Tiffany send a podcast to these people every single day, or not every day, but we get it every Wednesday. And then Wednesday night at night, one of my duties that I do for myself is I take about a half an hour. I go through all of those, and I have all of my pitch packs that I have for each thing are all like in a Dropbox. And I go and I grab it, and it's all templated. I just drag and drop it into the email, and then just change the name of the podcast name and the person. And and Matt, I'll send you over that letter I'll send over for you so you can do that. But yeah, I mean, Trey, like I told you, Trey, my homeboy Trey, he has a Facebook show. He has his stuff on there as well, and he's been able to get some great guests that he would have never found. And then of course, like the way this whole show thing goes is it's all about leveraging each other. So start getting onto these podcasts, use those podcasts not only as content to promote your brand, but leverage it by allowing them to send this out to their people, which means, hey, I have an offer, which means get into my group. Offer, you want to make sure that you're able to leverage that. So there's some free stuff. Like I said, I normally only give that to my paying customers. So there you go. There's my bribe. So it's guest.com. Just hopefully that helps you and your people. But just again, abundance. It's not an either or world. It's an and world. And you can have everything in the life that you want and more. Stop thinking that you can only have this without that. Stop thinking that you can only do this, but you have to give up that. You can only be friends with this person, but you can't be friends with that person. You can only work with this person, and you can't work with that person. You can only do this project, but you don't have time for that project. First of all, take butt out of your damn life, because but all it does is proceed. All it does is basically negate the proceeding to talk about the latter. So you're just, I love you, but bullshit. You don't love me. So if I love you, the trick in that is I love you and I do gotta hop on a call here, but I'm going to go ahead and let you all know one thing, and this is something I just learned. So I haven't really even put out any blogs about it or anything. Tiffany and I were working with Marshall Silver in San Diego last week. He was helping us with stage performances. I'm going to be on about 30 stages this year all over the United States talking, and he was working with us on our stage performances. Well, one of the things you need to gain while you're on stage is charisma, right? You need to be liked. You need to walk up on stage and be able to be just have them fall in love with you. Because when you can, again, heighten that emotion, they're always going to remember how you made them feel. Like a big thing in stage is you want to get them to the idea of, wow, he's talking right to me.
Yeah.
Then you got, and there's a whole thing of understanding how to cold read people and all that. And he taught us all that last week. But the thing is one thing that he taught comes from improv. And it comes from communication. And I think it's very important. And it was like I was on cloud 9 that day. I mean, I was like, I gained a dendrite today in the brain. I learned something new. And I got my 1% better today. I mean, that was my whole thing. And anyway, so, anyway, so I did that, and he's coming, and it's this whole framework of no is a stopping point. No is something that everybody hates to hear. No one likes hearing the word no. No is a stopping point. No is this conversation, this flow, this communication, this thread, this whatever stops, can be stopped with a no. So instead of, I talk a lot about getting X amount of yeses in a conversation, building up to the when you ask the final finale question of, do you want to, which mine is this something you'd like our help with? And then, and that's going to make getting them into what's called a yes state. And there's a whole NLP training on this. We have, again, the Better Leads Academy. In fact, there's a little bit of training on this. So once you join the group, you'll get a little bit of training that basically the mini course training that Tiffany teaches on this. But there is a second piece to that. So what we want to do is I was just trying to get them to say yes by saying things like, does this understand? Does this make sense? It's kind of like the 4-letter. I have another thing on, does this make sense? That whole 4 words, I had an article published about those 4 words because they said it was so meaningful. But with that, we go in and we use, it's an improv technique. We use yes and. The reason that improv does this is because improv can never get to an ending. In improv or in theater, you can never get to a stopping point communication that can ruin the performance. So what you do when you're communicating with someone, and this helps in so many realms when it comes to the persuasion, which persuasion is understanding and taking advantage of and leveraging how the brain works. That's persuasion. It's helping get people's conscious mind out of the way of their unconscious mind so they can make the decision that's right for them. That's persuasion. Basically what this yes and is you're able to get yes embedded into the conversation, which spikes their dopamine in their brain. Dopamine is just an energy source of some kind in the brain that makes you feel good. And it also allows you to free flow the communication to where they're always right. They're never wrong. So conditioning someone to always be right in a conversation, their then emotion is going to be, oh my gosh, I'm helping someone because he's telling yes to me all the time, which makes them feel better, makes them feel good, which also makes them want to give you more information. And the more information you get as a salesperson, the more clues you get to be able to figure out how you can best help them. And it also allows them to feel more comfortable with you around them. They become wanting, they start to feel that it's okay for you to say yes around them, which is going to help them feel more comfortable to say yes around you. It's a charisma thing. So be like, I'm so mad if you came to me and said, hey man, so like, you know, BookFunnels or, you know, MailChimp sucks. Yes. And there are many, all of them are really, really good. I wouldn't be like, fuck you, dude. Like, no. Fuck you. No, I'd be like, no, yes. And, you know, MailChimp has actually been really, really good for me, but there's amazing ones. I mean, and there's amazing ones out there that everybody can use. It really just depends on which one is best for you. And then you would say, yes, but I used MailChimp. Yes, and I used MailChimp and it just didn't really have what I needed. So I went ahead and I used Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign or whatever the hell one you used. And you know, and it worked really, really well. ActiveCampaign had this, whereas, you know, MailChimp just kind of struggled with that. Yes, and that might be a challenge that MailChimp currently has, and it's something that they're working on that's going to make our experience a lot better with them. And see how that just kind of continually goes, and it becomes a habit. You know, I'm still working on this. You know, it's not like I just learned this and got it, but you know, I'm still working on this. And then the next step of this is understanding how to do it when your brain is operating. So when you're in motion and then you're thinking, now your brain is having to operate twice. You're having to multitask. So that's kind of an advanced way of doing it. So like you start like doing things and you say, what are you doing? And then by doing those things and getting your brain, you're also not allowed to say but or anything, but or any questions. You have to say yes and then make a statement. So like just doing that little exercise. Me and Tiffany do that little exercise all the time. I have my two right-hand men here, Caesar and Trey. And, you know, they're in the other room and we sit there and we're in our downtime and we're building out funnels and we're building out stuff. You know, we'll literally sit in there and we'll play this little game together as a joke. And like, it literally is a game to us. It's fun. I mean, we're nerds. We're you know, we're creative. So this is the type of things that we do. And you know, I would definitely say, get that into your ecosystem, get that into what you're doing, because, you know, being positive, people like doing business with happy people like being around happy people. So constantly be smiling, constantly be happy. You know, just another little thing. I mean, I just want to tell you all everything. Another little thing, do this every single day. Be conscious about it. But every time that you look at someone during the day, make a point to smile and nod. Your charisma will double. If you just make a point to everybody that you see, look at them in the eye, smile at them, and nod at them. Your charisma will double. People will walk up to you and start telling you about their life and how awesome they are and the challenges that they have that they need fixed.
Right.
Just by looking at them and acknowledging, it's almost kind of like waving a white flag in front of them. Saying, hey, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're having an awesome day. I'm having an amazing day. And I hope that me having an amazing day can affect you in some way to help you have an amazing day. That's what the language is. That's what we're telling each other through our body language. But and I'm not saying make it stupidly flamboyant. I'm not saying.
No, I get it.
But I mean, just, you know, like Matt, I'd walk up to you, Matt, and I'd be like, what's up, Matt?
Right.
You know,
well, it's funny. I do that naturally anyways.
And I want you to see what just happened, because what just happened is important. Matt, and I'm not getting on you, Matt. I'm not calling you out, but let's just hear this.
Oh, you're good.
Matt's been looking down, and when I talk this entire conversation, not that he's frowning, but he's been observing me and observing my words and going back and down. It's not that he's in any type of unhappy state. He's in a state of data collection in his brain. And there's a whole study on, like, I know exactly what type of data he's collecting based on where his eyes are looking when he's collecting that data. We teach that in the Better Leads Academy. It's all NLP. But the thing is now that I'm able to recognize that and understand what type of data he's looking, I can then use that and leverage that to then decide what type of information I'm going to put in front of him. So I knew that by mentioning what I just mentioned and by saying what I just said, I was going to get a smile from him. And I knew if I smiled and nodded, he was going to look at me. And because of that reaction, he hasn't smiled and nodded at me yet. So I know that if I can sit here and I can be a little funny, maybe just a little funny, I'm going to be able to get him to react. Now, what happens is now I know. Here's what I know. All of this goes through my brain very, very quickly. But here's what I know. I know that he just smiled and reacted. So I now have him in a heightened emotional state of good. I could come to him with anything almost, even belts if I wanted to. What type of belt the guy's wearing, how awesome his shoes are. And then I'm able to start the whole paralleling sequence of figuring out what we have in common, to build the rapport, to build the trust with the man. And then through that rapport building, and we're talking 3 questions, we're talking quick here. Through that rapport building, I should be able to find out something that I can help him with, or someone I can help him introduce him with, to then be able to go into the initial giving. And then once I'm able to get into the initial giving, that rapport starts to speak. The whole thing is just, it just goes. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole system because that's what you got to pay me for. But, you know, like, that's just sort of how it goes. And, you know, we have scripts and we have things and we have, you know, ideas on how you can parallel items and popular items. Tattoos are popular. Shoes are popular. Jewelry's popular. Beards are popular right now. Being a shaved head, which I'm not, but Caesar is. I mean, it's popular. I mean, so physical attributes, things people are wearing, things people are reading, looking at, whatever, there's usually something you can find, even if it's in a generic something that you can find from someone who is around you, and pretty much anybody around you. And then that's how you can make that connection with people. People like people that are like them. So make yourself like them in some sort of way. And you can do that in a multitude of ways. And it can literally be something as much as, I like how you did your hair today. I mean, maybe a guy to guy wouldn't say that. That'd be a little weird, but in San Francisco, it would be weird. But, you know, if Kristen was to go up to some lady and say, you know what, you really make that hairstyle look great. I really, really enjoy looking at your hair today. It made me smile. I just wanted to let you know that. Do you not think they're going to melt? And now obviously be general, be generic. Don't be bullshitting about it. Be genuine. And through being genuine, your tonality, your body language, and the words, of course, all matter. However, you want to make sure that when you do something like that, I mean, it's a shock to their system. Why? Because people just have this innate thought in their brain that everybody's out to get you. No one likes you. I mean, I don't know why, but it's just like a lot of people have challenges with that. I have challenges with that. Where like I look at someone and they might be in their own head, but I think they're in their own head, or they just don't like me, or they're pissed off at me. When in actuality, they don't even know that I'm there right now. They're stuck in their own little world. And, I think that I strongly believe that when you can give a shock to someone's system, and it's a lot of times it's just giving them a compliment, you're able to enter into, a world of an opportunity. It's not a world of I'm going to sell you something. It's a world of opportunity to figuring out how you can help them. Introducing someone to someone that they currently can't be introduced to is helping somebody a ton. It really is. True. And a lot of times that is a big, big, big anchor that I go back to, because a lot of times I'll run into a lot of people that just want to meet me, but there's absolutely nothing I can do within my ecosystem that can help them. They don't need marketing, right? For whatever reason, they just don't need it. So, okay, well, what do you need? I need to be introduced to someone who might be able to get me on a podcast. Awesome. I got this great guy. He's actually my agent in LA. He helps me get on TV, but he also has this amazing podcast. His name's James. I can connect you with him right now, and you'll probably be on his podcast next week. Is that something that would help you? Oh my God, are you serious? Absolutely. We all win when we all win. And then not only, so it's give. There's a great thing I watched a while ago from Russell Brunson, and how his relationship with Tony Robbins started, and how it's grown over since 2009. And it all started because Russell gave, and then he gave again, and then he gave again for like 6 years. He gave and never got anything from Tony Robbins. In fact, would go years after giving him something worth, in his eyes, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so, the way Tony is like one of the most busiest men, like he's literally just go all the time. And he has an entourage of people that make sure he's go all the time, right? Like he's there, and then it's like 2 or 3 minutes of thank yous, hugs, okay, awesome, gotta run. And then it's crazy because, he talked about how now, all of this led up to him being able to be interviewed on doing a live with Tony Robbins, where they talked about his Expert Secrets book, and it got over 3.7 million views, which helped launch Expert Secrets. So, I mean, it's crazy, which this was in 2000, I think, in 15. So ClickFunnels was still a fairly new company back then. It wasn't what it is today by any means. So just by getting that spike and that endorsement through, he had paid nothing for that endorsement. All he did was provide value, and he gave and he gave and he gave. And then eventually, after giving, one of the things that he gave truly measurably was able to help Tony. So that reciprocity kicked in, and reciprocity is real. You give more to get more. Right?
I love it. So true.
I wanted to make sure that your audience gets that, because that's like one of the biggest lessons in life, in my opinion, is you got to give before you get. And so many people get.
It's so true, because there's so many times that people will send something random, and I mean, I'm big on LinkedIn. That is, and thanks to my wife, because she's one of the big facilitators of content and working behind the scenes. And it's crazy to think that how many times where I'm in there and someone will just send me a random message about, oh, we offer all these leads, or we do all this stuff. I'm like, I don't even know you. Like I don't know what you're talking about. We don't know each other. And they haven't added any value first. They've tried to extract. So that's you know, that's where I believe it's so impactful, that 3-to-1 deposit, three deposit to 1 extraction ratio. And I use that a lot, even with our business. It's huge. Well, Sid, I know we're like way, we're way over.
I hope that
huge
conversation has been able to really, in some way, hopefully one of the words or one of the phrases or one of the frameworks we went over in some way was able to help your audience, was able to help you. Matt, I do want to, you know, make sure we get in a text. I can't talk right after this, so I do have a phone call. The guy's texting me. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, I want to make sure. So again, the Facebook group, you know, will give you all the free trainings and all the free mini courses and all that stuff that come with that. Like I said, it's over like 40 hours of free training. We'll give you all of that. And you also get, I do 2 Ask Me Anything calls a day. They're done in the morning. And it's literally 2 calls where anybody that comes into our Facebook group has an opportunity for this call. So I'm not going to give you that link. You need to get into the Facebook group. But when you get into the Facebook group, and then what I do on Fridays in my paid group is with 2 of these calls, I actually do live videos with me on the call so they can learn kind of how, you know, how I operate on a sales call. So again, everything's kind of connected there. And then, yeah, so then what we do is we then you know, so go in there, do those 2 things. All you need to do is mention that Matt sent you over, so I can give Matt his fair due. And then, or Matt, I guess I can make you a special Bitly link. That's not a big deal. And I can shoot that over to you. And then, yeah. And then so I'll create Matt a specific a link. And then what I'm going to have Matt do, if you don't mind, I'm sure you're going to be emailing this out to your list. If you can just take that link and then it'll be a special link for you. So if you've already clicked on the link, it's cool. Just not a big deal. Just make sure that you let me know that you came here from Matt and Kristen's show, because I want to give Matt his due, as well as Matt, I'll shoot you over a specific Bitly link that I can track. So
awesome.
We'll do that. And yeah, and then what I'd like to do for your team as well is we have 6 books in the Better Leads Academy. My most downloaded one that I have is called How to Generate Leads on Facebook for Free, even if no one's ever heard of you, or Highly Qualified Leads on Facebook for Free. I'll send you all over the link to download that book as well. So no funnel or anything, just click a link and you go to a downloadable. It's you click on it and then it sends you a message and messenger the book. So
I love it. I love it.
We'll do all that. And yeah, so I'll make sure to get you all over those links so you can put that there. And other than that, y'all, thanks for letting me be on the show. I hope something that I said was of some value for you. And yeah, the only thing I ask, if there's any chance, I'd love to help promote the show even more. So I would like to have this video cut up and sliced up a little bit, and with my video team. And in a few days, I'll send you over the video that you can use. That's all the O's and the ums and all that stuff cut out. But yeah, just to help you, and then I'll send that out to my list, of course. So
yeah, absolutely.
Way to do that. If you can just send me the recorded video or send me a link to it in a Dropbox, I'll make sure to get that sent out as fast as I can.
You got it. Sav says, let me know once we have those books downloaded. I'd love to check them out. So there you go. You already got some people wanting to check out.
There you go. Go get the group and you can get the books now. There's a link to get the books, all of them, all 6 of them, if you go join the group.
Awesome. All right. I love it. I love it. Well, hey, Sid, thank you for jumping on. Kristen, sorry that Kristen couldn't hear me.
Yeah, I'd love to get you guys on. Tiffany and I are starting a podcast January 1st. Yeah. It'll be called the Tip and Sid Podcast.
Love it.
Not going to be about marketing or mindset. It is. It's going to be about our lives, though, and it's going to be basically, attracting people that want to be able to have a relationship like this, and building and edifying each other up. Everything goes to our highest intention. That's everything is built around that. So we do have another podcast. It starts in January. So yeah, we'll be getting you on there maybe in March or April, and we'll get y'all on there. I'll shoot you over. We'll figure out a date. Tiffany handles all of that show. I just show up. I just show up and do things. So
awesome. I love it.
So yeah, man, anyway, we can talk about that offline. Thank you again so much, guys. And again, remember, we all win when we all win. This is a life of abundance, and this is a life of and. This is not an either or world. This is an and world, and you can have everything in the world that you want and more. All you have to do is surrender to the idea of nothing is difficult. Everything is different. And will change, I promise. So give well before you get. ask or ask to get anything, I promise you that will change your life. And just walk around every day smiling consciously. And every time that you look at someone, just smile and nod and watch it, how much love and how much support and how much people start getting attracted to you, which is going to help your life every single step of the way. And I hope that helps you. I hope anything that I talked about on this thing helped you. Thank you so much, Matt. And I really look forward to you all in the group. And I look forward to talking to some of you all that get on my free Ask Me Anything call Monday through Fridays. We usually do those between 9 and 9:30. So my assistant takes care of those for me. So anyway, excited. And I look forward to talking to you guys here real soon.
All right. Thanks, Sid. See you, everybody. See you next week.
Great. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.